everyone. Today we are going to read our ninth chapter, Urban Livelihoods. There are many towns and big cities in India. Big cities such as Delhi and Kolkata have more than a crore people living and working there. People in the cities may be rich industrialists or may belong to the middle class, which includes small businessmen and salary earners. A large section, including factory workers and rickshaw pullers, are poor. In a city, people are engaged in different professions. Some are employed by others, while some are self employed. Workers on the street. People who work on the streets work for themselves. Vegetable vendors, florists, newspaper sellers, cobblers, roadside barbers, people selling goods on carts, and rickshaw pullers are not employed by anyone. Some people set up temporary shops. The police can ask them to remove their shops at any time, so they have no security. Vendors are not allowed to go to certain parts of the city. They sell eatables that are usually prepared at home by their family members. There are approximately 1 crore street vendors in India working in urban areas. The government is considering relaxing the law that bans street vendors so that their right to earn a livelihood is recognized. It has been suggested that there should be special areas for them in the cities. They should also be allowed to move about in all areas. Cycle rickshaw puller Chhagan. I am Chhagan. I come from a village in UP where I worked as an agricultural laborer. My family lives in the village. We do not own any land. In the village, I did not get work regularly, due to which I could not meet the needs of my family. So I came to the city. In the city, I could not get a job. I made a friend whose name is Anil. We live in a rented room. Anil introduced me to Hari Prasad, who owns many rickshaws. I pull a cycle rickshaw that belongs to Hari Prasad. I work from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every month I have to pay rupees 300 as rent for the cycle rickshaw. I earn about rupees 100 every day, out of which I spend rupees 60 on food and rent. Each passenger gives me rupees 5 or 10 per trip depending on the distance. I earn less when it rains or when I fall ill. I go to my village to see my family twice a year. My wife works as an agricultural laborer in the village. In the market. This is a local market. There are many shops selling utensils, crockery, electronic goods such as TVs, refrigerators, and music systems. Also, ready made clothes, footwear, and toys. There are restaurants, fast food joints, jewelry shops, bookshops, sweet shops, banks, courier services, and clinics. I am Sangeeta. My sister Natasha will be getting married very soon. We went to the market to buy a few things. First, we went to the eye specialist where my mother had to get her eyes checked. She had an appointment, so it did not take very long. From there, we went to a crockery shop. Shopkeepers Mandeep and Priya. Mandeep and Priya own a crockery shop. All kinds of crockery are available here. The shop also stocks steel utensils. There are many shopkeepers in different markets. Their shops may be big or small. Some of them own these shops while others are tenants. Most of them are self employed. They employ a number of salesmen, supervisors, and helpers. The local bodies in cities issue licenses to these people to run their businesses. On one day of the week, the market remains closed. This day is fixed by the municipal corporation. Businessman Sunil. Next, we went to a shop selling garments. Clothes of different sizes and colors were available there. Salwar suits, tops, trousers, and frocks for every age group were available. The shop was spread over 2 floors. The shopkeeper had employed tailors who worked in the factory area a few kilometers away from the shop. Sunil is a businessman. He goes to the wholesale cloth market to purchase material. Some of this material comes from Surat, Ahmedabad, and Mumbai. Some of the dress materials are obtained from foreign countries. Buttons, lace, thread, and needles are purchased from the wholesale market in Delhi. Sunil runs a boutique. He has advertised in newspapers and on television and radio. When he started working 15 years ago, he was a tenant in the building. 2 years ago, he bought the shop. With every passing year, he earns more money from his business. With this profit, Sunil has been able to build his own house. He has also bought a car. Factory workshop area. My sister had to meet a friend in an export house, so we decided to go towards the factory area. It was a few miles away from the market. We first took the metro and then traveled some distance by bus. The metro ride was quite comfortable, but when we got into the bus, we had to push our way through. Most of those traveling with us were factory workers or casual laborers. We got down from the bus when the bus reached the main crossing in the factory area. The crossing was full of casual laborers who were waiting for people to come and give them work. Among the laborers were masons and their helpers. Those who dig at construction sites, lift bricks, or unload the trucks, dig for pipelines and telephone cables, whitewash houses, and do a carpenter's job on a daily basis. The factory area was full of small and big factories. In some factories, parts of machines were being manufactured, while in others, they were being assembled. We finally reached the export house. There was a unit that was putting together shirts for export. There was another unit in the same factory that was stitching garments for women. One set of people were working on sewing machines while other group was stitching buttons on clothes. Some were embroidering clothes with the help of machines while others were embroidering by hand. In one corner of the factory, the clothes had been piled to be packed. Cardboard boxes were lying near them. Many of these factories export garments to countries such as USA, UK, France, Germany, and Italy. Factory worker Santosh. Santosh works in a garment factory. She works from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. She works 6 days a week. When the factory owner gets large orders, Santosh works overtime. She is paid rupees 80 for 8 hours and rupees 20 per hour as overtime. But when the owner does not get an order, she has no work. This happens for about 2 to 3 months in a year. So Santosh works on a casual basis, that is, only when the owner of the factory needs her. At times, when there is no work in the factory, she has to look for work elsewhere. Her job is temporary. Casual workers cannot complain about the bad conditions of work and pay. There is no job security or protection for them. They have to work for very long hours and have to accept low wages. In the cloth mills, workers work in shifts that last for 12 hours. Domestic worker Sushila. Sushila works as a part time maid in three different households. She cleans utensils in one house, washes clothes in another, and sweeps and mops the floor in the third. For cleaning utensils, Sushila gets rupees 250 per month, while for cleaning the house and washing clothes, she gets rupees 300 per month. Sushila's husband works as a driver. 5 years ago, they migrated from UP. They live as tenants in a room. The room rent is rupees 500 per month. She and her family lives in the suburbs. She has 4 children. All of them study in a government school. She gets up at 4:30 in the morning. She cooks for her family, packs tiffin for everyone, and sends her children to school at 6:30 a.m. before leaving for work at 7 a.m. She takes a bus to reach the area where she works. She has to travel in the bus for 1 hour. She takes about 4 hours to finish her job in the three houses. When she reaches home, her children are back from school. Sushila washes their clothes and cleans her own house. Her two daughters help her. One is 7 and the other 12 years old. They have to bring water from the hand pump because there is no tap in the house. The elder daughter helps the other children with their homework. Sushila cooks the evening meal for her family. Her husband comes back at 10 p.m. In the office area, Manager Chandni. Chandni works as a manager. Her office is in an area which has many other offices. Hundreds of people come to this area daily. Chandni works in a company that publishes books. The office is situated in an area which has many other offices. Chandni's work is clearly defined. She looks after the sales section. She supervises the work of 35 salespersons who visit different shops to get orders. Each salesperson is in charge of one specific area. They report to Chandni at least once every day. Chandni works till about 6 pm. Chandni receives a fixed salary every month. She is a permanent employee of her company, which means that she will not have to leave if the company does not have work. Chandni is saving for her old age. Every month, a part of her salary is kept in a fund with the government. These are her savings on which she gets interest. She will get this money when she retires. Chandni gets many holidays like Sundays and other national holidays. Besides these, she gets annual leave. She also gets medical leave if she falls ill. For all these holidays and leave, her salary is not deducted. The company pays her medical bills up to a certain amount also. Status of women. The status of women in urban areas is higher than that of women in rural areas. Urban women are comparatively more educated and liberal. In the labor market, women are still at a disadvantage. The labor market discriminates against women. They do not get equal opportunities. It is unfair to put women in an unimportant position. Rural and urban structure a comparison. Rural and urban communities may be distinguished from each other on the basis of occupation, size, and density of population, environment, and social division. The main occupation of the people in rural communities is agriculture. Some are engaged in non agricultural activities also. People in urban communities are mainly engaged in non agricultural activities such as manufacturing, trade, and commerce. Rural communities are smaller while urban communities are larger. People in rural areas are close to nature while people in urban areas are isolated from nature. While rural communities are divided more on caste and less on class basis, urban communities are divided more on class basis. Movement in rural areas is more from villages to villages and villages to cities, while movement in urban areas is more from one city to another. The number of working children in the rural areas is 10 times more than that in the urban areas. So, this was our chapter Urban Livelihoods. If you have any doubt or query, you can ask me in the comment box below. And if you want links to the other chapters, you can find them in the description box. Thank you, everyone.